Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this, my 2011 year in review. This is going to be my awards ceremony. As you can tell, I'm on location right now. I'm on the set. No expense spared here. I've put so much money into this. Look at the set. Just look at it. I've paid for a door, a poster, another poster. It looks exactly like my bedroom, doesn't it? It looks exactly like that, but I promise you it's not. This is a set. Honestly, it is. This is like... it's nowhere near my bedroom, this. Honestly, this is big time, right? Pay attention. First of all, let's get straight into it. First of all, Male Wrestler of the Year. Who am I going to give this award to? This has got to be someone who, when you compare the year that he's had, it's got to be better than when you compare it to anybody else's in the business. And I've had to go for CM Punk. The guy set the wrestling world on fire back in July, was it? Just before Money in the Bank. You can't give it to anyone else. He was so hot this year, and for an extended period of time, that you just got to give him Male Wrestler of the Year, and especially because he's very good as a wrestler. Wrestling in the ring, that's what a wrestler needs to do, and he's good at that. He's always been good at that. He had a good year in terms of in-ring work, and then storyline wise with that promo and everything, he really caught on fire, didn't he? Next up, Female Wrestler of the Year. Now this one, I think it went to Sarah Del Rey last year, but I've not really been watching much indie work this year. I watched a little bit here and there. Although I did see an awesome match of her against... oh, what's he called? The announcer from the BDK in Shikara. That was a really awesome match, but I'm not seeing enough for me to justify giving her the top spot in this. So I'm giving it to Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix has had a very good year in the WWE. A lot of people have been complaining, saying she's not looked strong over the last few weeks. Even if you take that into consideration, for the entire year she's done very well. She's been featured at the top of the card consistently, and she's been putting on probably the best female wrestling matches in the WWE all year long. It's definitely the WWE, probably in the business. Well, I've not seen much of the Joshi stuff. I've not seen the Joshi Mania thing or all that, but yeah, Beth Phoenix definitely, for me, best women's wrestler of the year. Best non-wrestler of the year. Now, I was throwing this back and forth, and I've wrote Johnny Ace down, but I'm going to go with a different one. I'm going with Vicky Guerrero. I believe Vicky Guerrero deserves this. She does such a good job, and she's done such a good job over the year that now she's no longer needed anymore, and Dolph Ziggler's been helped to the point where he's over and he doesn't really need her. And I'm sure in 2012 they're going to break off from each other. Maybe Ziggler will turn face and feud with Swagger. And maybe Swagger will turn face and feud with Ziggler. But yeah, I can see that being something that happens in 2012, which would be pretty decent. And yeah, non-wrestler, yeah, she does the job so well. She's so good at getting heat. This year she's not been as good as others, but I still enjoy the stuff. Like, people want to see her gone. I think that's part of her character, that she's getting that out of them. People like to say, oh no, this is just this is Michael Cole, X-Pac heat. I think it's a bit different for Vicky Guerrero, because the kids boo her. The kids don't really boo Michael Cole that much, but the kids really boo Vicky Guerrero because she gets on their nerves. Next up, Tag Team of the Year. Again, this is one that I really struggled on. I can't really think of a tag team that's been like out there and really good this year. In terms of indie wrestling, like I said, I've not really watched much of it. I could give it to the likes of All Night Express, Briscoe Brothers, Benjamin and Haas, forgot their name, World Greatest Tag Team, Wrestlers Greatest Tag Team, but I've not really seen enough, and I'd be a bit of a fraud if I came on in and talked about how good they were this year and used lots of generic phrases like they put on good match after good match after good match, because I've not been watching a lot of their stuff, but I have been watching a lot of WWE, and their boom consistently perform for me, and that's something that I like. The two guys that have just been thrown together, they're not really taken off that much, but maybe they will in time. Sure, they've been given a lot of time up to this point, but I'd like to see them given more time. See what they get with that. Anyway, next up, segment of the year. Everyone knows what this is going to be. Actually, it could be one of two things. Special mention has got to go here to The Rock returning. What a segment that was, and then he cuts that promo. The reason I'm not going to give it to that is because I hated that promo. Because I was, as much as I was like, this is awesome, I was like, you are chatting shit. You are bullshitting us, Rock. As much as I appreciate your in-ring work, you are Billy bullshitting me right now. You're telling me that you're never going to leave. You're telling me that you're back for me. You're not back for me. You're back for your own pocket. You know? Don't tell me that bullshit. Yeah, segment of the year, CM Punk's promo when he comes out and he attacks John Cena. He's a heel at this point, but this promo was so good it forced WWE to turn him face. Although I'm sure that was probably a part of the. Actually, turning him face might not have been part of the plan, but the whole thing was to get him into being a megastar was part of the plan. He comes down and he beats up John Cena, puts him through the table, and then he says, Cena, blah blah blah, cuts all this bullshit on him, saying that Triple H is an idiot, Stephanie's a dumbass, Vince McMahon surrounded by yes men like Johnny Ace. Excellent promo. You all know the promo. I don't need to go on and on about it. It was one of the best promos in years. Actually, there's another really good promo that I'm going to go on to later on in this thing, but a lot of you probably haven't seen that one. But yeah, CM Punk segment of the year, match of the year, again linking in with segment of the year. The match they had at Money in the Bank, CM Punk versus John Cena. The crowd were electric. Let's go Cena, Cena sucks. Let's go Cena, CM Punk. That crowd was so hot for it. They wanted that match so much. And the fact that it was the hometown crowd for CM Punk, he'd just come off bashing the company. He was the IWC's guy. We were really behind him, like, yeah, you say this stuff, and we were all so behind him. At the end of the day, he wasn't saying anything like groundbreaking. It was stuff that we've all been saying for years, but it was just the matter that it was so important because it was somebody now addressing it on screen and saying so much of what we've been saying in the past all at once, that we were just like, wow, they've been paying attention, and they're letting CM Punk say this. CM Punk is a fucking man. And then in front of that Chicago crowd, who were going to be behind him anyway, they were rabid in that. That was the best crowd I've ever seen in any pro wrestling match ever. Someone told me to watch a Jumbo Matsuda versus the guy who's in Royal Rumble 1994. I think it was him anyway. Can't remember his name. Tenryu versus Jumbo Matsuda, is he called, or I don't know. Hold my hands up, I don't know. But I was told to watch that match because the crowd was hot. I didn't really get it. I didn't really get that feeling from the crowd. It was a good match, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed what I was watching, but I didn't really get that real importance from the crowd like I did from this CM Punk match from this year. Best match of the year. Show of the year, again, sticking with the segment and the match of the year, Money in the Bank. You do not get better than Money in the Bank. The way that ended, with Punk beating him after so many twists and turns of Johnny Ace running down to the ring, Cena punching him, getting back in the ring, getting GTS'd and then pinned, and then CM Punk gets the title, blows the kiss, and then fucks off with the belt. Like, wow. That was awesome. Daniel Bryan winning the Money in the Bank. How awesome was that? Lots of awesome stuff happened on this card. Sin Cara being powerbombed through a ladder and then getting fucked off because he'd failed a drugs test. What an awesome pay-per-view. I cannot say enough good things about this pay-per-view. It was fantastic. Even the women's match on there wasn't that bad. I can't remember what it was. It was probably Beth versus Kelly. I remember thinking at the time, this is a pretty good Divas match. Not an awesome one, but it's better than the usual shit. Next up, Feud of the Year. Actually, no, I'll go with Surprise of the Year first. Surprise of the Year, to me, it wasn't that Cena promo, because like I said, sorry, it wasn't the CM Punk promo, because like I said, it was stuff that we'd all said before, and it wasn't the fact that it was saying new stuff, it was the fact that he was saying it on screen that made us sit up and go, wow, this is awesome. That wasn't surprising. What was surprising when The Rock came back? Oh my god, The Rock's going to come back to wrestling, he's going to just host WrestleMania. That is awesome. What? He's having a match with Cena next year. Mind-boggling. When he cut that promo and he said, I am back. As much as like I said a few seconds ago that I didn't believe him, that he was back for me, and I didn't believe that he'd be back for good, and I didn't believe that he wasn't doing it for the money, I was like, this is special, because at least he is back in the ring. At least he will be there at WrestleMania. And then when he said that he'd be back next year at WrestleMania to face Cena, it was like, wow, Rock is back, at least for one more run, and that's amazing. Feud of the Year. Even though they've never faced each other through the year, Rock versus Cena. The way this has been built up is really good in my opinion. They started it where Rock was just going to come back all impartial, and then Cena was bitching at him, and then they were bitching back and forth, and then Rock comes and costs him the title at WrestleMania, and then the next night they agreed that next year we're going to fight each other at WrestleMania. And the idea was here a bit like, really? You're planning this for next year already? This sort of like wipes off anything Cena does for the next year that we don't give a shit about. But then they built it slowly, video package via satellite. Cena would come out saying, oh yeah, you're just coming through satellite. Then Rock being like, oh, I don't need to be there, Cena, that's your job, it's not my job anymore, blah blah blah. I've been there, I've done that. The back and forth was fantastic. A lot of people moan saying, "Oh, Rock's not even been around." Blah, 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 blah. That's not the point. In terms of talking about this feud, the feud was amazing the way it was built up. Do I like the fact that Rock was not here a lot? No, I do not agree with the fact that he was away so much. But in terms of this feud, it was built really well for the fact that he wasn't there much. And then Survivor Series, they teamed up and still they weren't getting along. It was very well tactically worked. People was like, "Oh, this doesn't make any sense because they're going to fight each other." It still makes sense because you're forcing two guys who hate each other to team together, and that adds a bit to the psychology of the match. But yeah, that's my feud of the year. Product of the year, and I'm not talking about company, I'm not talking about a TV show, I'm talking about something made by a wrestling company or by a specific wrestler and put out there. Special mention has got to go to that guy over my shoulder there, Colt Cabana. His Art of Wrestling podcast is fantastic, it's amazing. I can't wait to every Thursday morning, or maybe about Thursday afternoon by the time I get around to being able to listen to it, is clicking that on, listening to it and hearing what whoever's got to say. Like the Bison Smith one from this year, especially knowing that he died soon afterwards, it's just a bit like, looking back, it's like, oh, he seemed like such a nice guy, like so good. But my product of the year is going to be the WWE produced DVD, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels Rivalries DVD. If you've not seen that, I highly recommend that you go and watch it. Again, another special mention goes to the Austin DVD. But this Bret and Shawn one, they talk about their rivalry, they talk about what went wrong between them, how they used to like each other in the early days, and then how they had a little falling out, how Bret was supposed to drop the belt to Shawn Michaels, but then Shawn Michaels turned around and said, "I appreciate that, but I'd never drop it to you." So then Bret was like, "Do you know what, go fuck yourself, I'm not going to drop it to you." How it snowballed, and then Montreal happened, then Shawn was blamed for it, Vince was blamed for it, then Bret blamed them aggressively, violently. "I'll never work for you again, I'll never work with you again, I don't want to see Shawn Michaels ever again." And then 2009 came, or was it 2010? 2009 came, and he walks out with Shawn Michaels. He walks out and he meets him in the ring, and they hug and they embrace and whatever. Fantastic stuff. Next off, Face of the Year. Now, this is where I go off the WWE track, and I'm going for Eddie Kingston. I have not seen a lot of indie stuff this year, I will freely admit that right now. However, I watched High Noon, which was Shikara's first ever pay-per-view. The main event was for their first ever singles title, and it was Eddie Kingston versus Mike Quackenbush. Mike Quackenbush, the guy who trained a lot of the guys in the Shikara locker room, the face of the company by all aspects, against Eddie Kingston. This seemed to me to be a face versus face match. I don't know if Eddie Kingston was supposed to be a heel going into it, because I didn't watch that much Shikara going into this. However, the promo he cuts beforehand, where he talks about Larry Sweeney saying, "Larry, you are my best friend, I'm going to do this for you," and then after the match when he won the title, I had goosebumps. I couldn't wait to, I believe that was the season finale of Shikara season 11, season 10? Season 10 I think it was. I cannot wait to see next year's Shikara. Based on this one promo, this one guy's cut who I wasn't even a fan of before, and I've seen him in ROH before, I've seen him in Shikara before, I've even seen him in CZW before, and I was like, oh, this guy's overweight, he can slightly work, but I'm not into him. But that one promo he cut really got me. It got me. I had goosebumps listening to him, and I was like, this is a nobody to me. This is a guy who I don't even like. I've barely seen, and he's getting me to believe. Talking about Larry Sweeney, again, another guy who I don't know much about. He only really came to my attention after he passed away, sadly. The fact that he could draw me in just by talking about that was just brilliant, and that's why I give him Face of the Year. Special mention, see, it's hard with this because you could give it to CM Punk, but he's only been face for half a year. John Cena, he's been face but only when The Rock's not been around. Rock, he's been a face but he's not really been around much, so the main WWE guys haven't really been faces that long. AJ Styles, he's done nothing to mention in TNA. Kurt Angle turned heel. James Storm and Robert Roode, fuck knows what's happening with them, they're both turning back and forth. Stupid stuff. Jeff Hardy turned face after he messed up at Victory Road. That was ridiculous. So there's no real top face. Who's the top faces in ROH? Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards, I believe they're both still faces, World's Greatest Tag Team. I won't put them above it. They didn't really draw me in like Eddie Kingston did. Heel of the Year, Miz. He's just totally unlikable. Every time he comes on the screen, I want to reach in there, grab him and strangle him and fucking kick his head in. I hate the Miz. I hate the Miz. He's so good at his job. He is so good at his job. Miz is a guy who's a reality TV guy. He got to be world champion. He got to be in the main event, which also featured Rock and Cena in some capacity, and he came out on top with that title around his shoulder. I hate the Miz. He is such a good heel, and I really appreciate him for that fact. The fact that he can draw me in and make him hate him. The way he says awesome, it's rubbish, but I hate it. I hate it. It's not like Michael Cole where you're just like, oh fucking, I want to turn this off. That is bad hate. With Miz, you want to keep watching like, oh, fucking shut up, Miz. Just someone beat him. Someone beat him, please. And then when he gets beat, you're like, oh, finally, yes. Rookie of the Year, I am going for Gregory Iron because I'd never seen him before, and this guy, this is again my only other one that's not WWE related. This guy, he was born with some disability, which means his hands slightly impaired. Yeah, he doesn't seem to let it affect him. When I first watched him, I found it really uncomfortable watching it because I felt like he was being exploited. But then when I listened to the Art of Wrestling podcast, I could look back at those matches and his subsequent matches and think, do you know what? Nah, I actually see where he's coming from now. He's not like he's being exploited. This is just his gimmick that he's trying to work, and he's doing it very well. So yeah, he's my Rookie of the Year because I've never seen him before this year, I don't think. And yeah, he's my Rookie of the Year. And again, this is not to like talk too much into his story and be like, oh, sort of sympathy for him. It's just the fact that I've never seen that many rookies like this year either, and to me, he's one that saw, and he's one that stood out. Props to him. Most Improved Wrestler of the Year is Dolph Ziggler. He, to me, last year was just random mid-carder with a title. This year, he's awesome. He's the man. He's the next Mr. Perfect. He's the next Bret Hart. Not in terms of technical ability, but in terms of WWE saying to him, I say this all the time, WWE saying to him, hey, listen, Dolph, we want you to put on 2 matches tonight. Dolph's like, yeah, sort it out. See you later. I'll just go do my first match now. I'll do my second one straight after if you want. Yeah, nice one, Dolphy. Dolph will go out there, put on awesome matches, not awesome matches, but put on very good matches, passable matches at the very least. He's getting good matches out of Zack Ryder. He's helped to get a Zack Ryder over as IC champ. Is it IC? No, it's US champ. But yeah, Dolph Ziggler's done a very good job, and he's most improved because now he's in a position where he could be put into that main event scene. Not quite world champion yet, but I'd put him in the main event scene, give him an elimination chamber match, stuff like that. Next off, Superstar of the Year. This one can only go to one guy. It went to John Cena last year, and as big as a superstar as he is, it was proved this year that there's a chink in John Cena's armour. CM Punk first exploited it. Well, actually, no, CM Punk secondly exploited it, but firstly it was exploited by The Rock. The Rock came back and he drew all those fans, and he started to draw heat on Cena, and they capitalised on that slight heat on Cena that was becoming popular to mainstream audiences to start hating Cena rather than just the indie crowd and the IWC crowd. It started becoming popular to hate on John Cena, so they used that for CM Punk to get over on him and to make that match so special. When he shot on John Cena, bam, we were drawn in. We really wanted to see what was happening next. Big time Superstar of the Year, The Rock. The Rock, he made John Cena a heel. Who does that? The Rock just drew fans to him. He came back and was like, bam, I'm the #1 guy again, guys. Sorry about that. I'm going to set this slot back for a while. You know, there's no bigger thing that defines you as a superstar than that, in my opinion. Next off, Company of the Year. Like I said, I've not really watched much of anything else, and it's because that other stuff wasn't really interesting me. WWE though, WWE really interested me this year, and I think they had a really good year. So that's why I'm giving Company of the Year to WWE. Now, in all these videos, I like to do my own little Hall of Fame thing, and so far I've inducted into my Hall of Fame Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, the British Bulldogs, Bobby Heenan, Lita, Chyna, Mr. Fuji, Demolition, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels. And now I would like to induct into my Hall of Fame Macho Man Randy Savage. First of all, the guy passed away this year, sadly, but it was only when he passed away that I started to really appreciate him more. And when there was more chatter about him, I started saying things to myself, do you know what? I never gave Macho Man that much of a chance. I thought he was okay and I always was entertained by him, but I should really go back and look at his old stuff. And I started to look at old promos and stuff, and you don't realise the intensity that he brings, especially comparing to his namesake Randy Orton. And Randy will talk like this, and very slow and very methodical. Whereas Macho was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come down and the spotlight should shine on top of me. Terrible impressions, I know. But you know what I mean? He really puts it in there. And if my voice wasn't so, I'd try and do it better, but I can't. Macho Man really puts it in. Really good promos, really good in-ring work. Total superstar, all-around package. Next up, Andre the Giant. Wow. I cannot say enough about Andre the Giant. Obviously, he wasn't a great technical wrestler, but he could tell a story in the ring. He was... if you've never seen an Andre the Giant match, just watch one. Look at the sheer size of him. You'd see Hulk Hogan, who's like a good 6'2", 6'3". He's booked as billed as 6'4", but I think he's about 6'2", 6'3". Andre mammoths him, and then when Hogan picks him up, when Andre allows Hogan to pick you up a slamming, that is why I'm going to put Andre in my Hall of Fame, because Andre is a massive draw. He makes wrestling look real, because who's going to beat him? Put him in UFC, I bet guys would be hard pressed to beat him. Even nowadays, put him in his prime, especially, he'd fucking eat him alive. Next up, Owen Hart. Owen Hart everyone knows my favourite wrestler is Bret Hart, but I believe on his day, Owen is better than Bret. If you put them both in a match together, Owen will outshine Bret. Bret will get the very best out of Owen, and Owen will outshine Bret. Owen didn't always get the best out of himself, I didn't think, but he was a very good in-ring talent, very good on the mic. The stuff between him and Bret when they were feuding, and even the little stuff like the way it started with Owen on the ring apron and then Bret being whipped into him and then Owen going flying into the guardrail. What a bump that was for 1993. I was like, wow, I can't believe that just happened as a little kid. I was like really excited and like, oh Bret, come on please win, and then Bret's team did win and I was like, yes. Good stuff. Mr. Perfect. A lot of these guys who have so-called inducted this year have sadly passed away, but again, Mr. Perfect, consummate professional, great matches all around. What more could you want? Fantastic promos. One of my favourite promos of all time is, I think it was SummerSlam 1991, and this is something that I miss, is both guys cutting promos together with Mean Gene Okerlund in the middle of them. You could put anyone in the middle, but Okerlund was really good at this. And it might not have even been Okerlund now said it, but I believe it was. And you got Bret on one side, Perfect on the other side, and they're talking about the upcoming match, and then what comes into play is the fact that their dads faced each other once, and I'm doubting that their dads did face each other because they're both in different territories, but they probably might have at some point. But yeah, just the chemistry between Bret and Hennig, even backstage on the mic, was just fantastic. It was like, we're talking about my dad beat your dad. What about your dad never beat my dad? My dad beat your dad. It's like, we'll see it in the ring, blah, blah, blah. And it was just so funny just watching it. It's like, that's great. And they go on and they put on a really good match, and then Bret beats Perfect for the IC title. Gets his first IC title win. Brilliant stuff. Next up, Sensational Sherri. Very underrated in my opinion. As a child, I never really saw that much in her. And then looking back, you go, wow, she's actually a really good looking woman. The stuff between Shawn Michaels and Rick Martel, where she was like, oh, please don't punch each other in the face, please don't punch each other in the face. As stupid as it was, she was an integral part of that storyline. Then when she joined, Michaels ended up hitting Sherri with the big glass mirror or something like that, because Mike Jannetty came running down. I can't remember how it specifically happened, but then Michaels turned his back on Sherri, and then Jannetty was like helping her out. All these storylines from shoot interviews and stuff. Shane Douglas especially, just recently, one that I watched, the ECW timeline of 1994, mentioned that Sherri was a tough bitch. She would really put it in there, and at one point he was in the ring trying to get he was basically separated from someone, and he was trying to get free of whoever was holding him, and he's punching and fighting for his life, and he couldn't get free, and then he looked down and it's Sherri that's holding on to him, and he's like, wow, as if it's a woman who's holding back and it's not one of the guys. Sherri, fantastic valet, fantastic women's wrestler apparently in the day, but I've seen one of her matches, I think, like from the late 80s. Was it against Velvet McIntyre or one of them? Velvet wasn't Velvet McIntyre. Whatever the woman was called. Rockin' Robin, I think it was against. Don't know where I got Velvet McIntyre from. I think she's the woman who sings the theme tune at WrestleMania 8, or the American national anthem or whatever. Sorry, this is tailing off here. Let's get it rocking for the last one. Sunny. Sunny is the best looking woman in professional wrestling history. When I was a child, I had the biggest crush in the world on Sunny. I remember getting a magazine, and the middle of the poster was Sunny, and I was like, oh, amazing. As a child, I could appreciate Sunny, and now looking back, she was like 18 in that role. I'm 23 now, looking like, oh my god, as if she was 18. When I was 18, should have seen the girls I was going out with, nothing like Sunny. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous. But yeah, that is my video. It's probably gone on for way too long. Please let me know what you think. Let me know who you give your awards to. I'm going to list all these in the description box. Hopefully I won't forget to do that, because I usually forget to do that kind of stuff. Let me know who you would give all these awards to, and if there are any awards I've missed out, who you'd give them to. What do you think of my Hall of Fame? What do you think of the year 2011 in general? And how would you rate the companies? I may do a little video on how I would rate the companies or something like that at the start of the new year. With that, I'm out. I hope you all have a very happy new year, whatever you're doing for it. Stay safe, stay sensible, all that good stuff, so that next year we can all come back, do it all over again. With that, I'm out. Thank you very, very, very much for watching, and thank you very much for sticking with me all this time. I've been here about 18 months now. Thank you very much, especially been here from the beginning. If I've picked you up along the way, then thank you for that too. I hope you do stick with me up into 2012, and with that, I am actually out. See you later.